All good, man.
Hey, Sean, you done rolling up your kid for 24/7?
Hey, Dave's mom. Yay! Hi, Dave's mom.
My parents are in space.
With Grumpy Mark. Hi, Grumpy Mark.
Grumpy Mark.
Oh, I love that he's grumpy. It's the best.
He's actually not nearly as grumpy as he used to be. He's a much warmer dude these days. So he likes the persona of being grumpy these days.
Oh, it's a persona.
It's an act.
Yeah.
That's just like Dave. Dave's not. People tell him he's not mean. He gets so pissed.
Yeah, then I hurt their feelings and have to. Then I hurt their feelings and I have to smooth it over for at least an hour. Yeah, I'm not mean.
But people don't realize you being mean is a term of endearment sometimes.
Thank you.
I feel better about myself after you're mean to me.
I'm not even. The thing is, I don't remember ever being.
No, you did like. I don't remember. I think you said something to me a little bit, but it was really funny. So
if ever I do, it's usually purely out of love and humor. You want to know what the hardest thing was to talk to you about? I remember, and I was direct with you, and this is again where the
tell you're not funny. No, I'm just.
No, it wasn't that. No, Cedric asked me. No, I'll Venmo them. Eerie, I'll take care of the Venmo. Just you don't have to
half your face.
Eerie, it's easier to just have them Venmo me. So
That's a pretty sign. We want to see your sign.
Don't Venmo her.
Thank you, Dave's mom. I appreciate you.
Well, I said it, Melon.
I really like Dave's mom.
Dave's mom would probably say it too.
How's it going?
Okay, goodbye. Bye.
All right, I'll stop showing it. But
yeah.
So what were you gonna say, Dave?
Oh, I was saying when you hit me up about you were asking about the setup. Remember, because you were talking about trying to get booked there. Mm-hmm. And I was telling you about those guys, what they kind of how they are, the criteria for your comedy and all that. And you were very cool about it. I mean, I remember I was trying to tell you what they kind of like because they weren't responding to you, and I told you kind of like this is what they were doing, and this is why they do it, and so I wouldn't hold my breath with them, and and you were totally cool about it. So that's what I mean.
Yeah, and you know what? I've talked to Abhay after that fact, and he was, me and him, he's just kind of weird towards me. Like I remember seeing him, and they were all having this conversation about who is like who's the younger. Everybody was a younger sibling except for me, and they were saying like all younger siblings are usually comics.
That was Becca. She's on the street.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Becca, are you? So no, this is crazy. Are you at a protest right now? Or are you?
No, I just left the one in North Beach.
Wow.
So I'm still in North Beach. I didn't have time. I didn't time it. I'm sorry. I didn't time it well enough. I apologize.
All right, so I'm gonna mute our audience. Don't mind me, guys. I'm gonna mute anybody who's not the guest. Feel free to use the chat over here, so you can chat any questions that you need to. And
I'm gonna just get us started.
Yeah,
I don't know what happened to Cedric. He's a specter now, but
no, he's arranging himself.
I know, it's just so bizarre. That looks so crazy. Okay.
Yeah,
I was trying to make my bed somewhat, so I didn't look like I was crazy.
He looked like a giant that was stomping the Golden Gate Bridge, which was awesome. When giant Black Life Matters, it was awesome.
Welcome to another terrible podcast by Comics in Isolation. We're back. Woo! Every Sunday at 6. We took a week off because last Sunday sucked. So it was canceled due to lack of interest. But we are
lack
back
of
now.
interest. No.
No, not lack of interest for our podcast, lack of interest for that day.
There was a lot of heaviness going on. I explained it to everybody that I knew there are people that we have, such as Deneen, such as Jason here, such as my parents, and anybody else who I know who I would get a message from later, be like, hey, what happened to the show? And they all completely understood it was a heavy weekend. There was obviously more pressing matters, which we will discuss some today. And it might be a good idea to take a Sunday off and reflect. And some people were protesting too. So it's
good.
Getting all that handled, and it worked out good.
I mean, if you guys missed us Fucking awesome. But all right, let's listen up. We like to listen up because sometimes
Our
Nick and I
introduction.
don't
You
listen
guys-
to each other.
Yeah.
Mostly him. But Cedric, where are you? You're like you keep disappearing into the clouds.
I'm right here. I'm
Okay.
like,
Would you like to just talk about you and what you're going through and who you are and kind of introduce yourself to the group?
cool. I'm Cedric Drake. I'm a comedian, or try to be. I try to be sometimes, but no, I'm a comedian. I'm from the Bay Area. It's been a crazy time. It's been weird. I've had to dodge weirdos looking at me because sometimes I don't wear a mask, or white people looking at me weird like the last couple of days because of what's been going on. But other than that, I've been pretty good. You know, everything's been good. There's been writing a lot, trying to stay low.
Awesome. Wonderful introduction there, Cedric.
Thank you.
And then our woman on the street reporter today, comedian, wonderful comedian, and just all around great person. This is Becca Henry, everybody.
That's me.
Yay!
Woman on the street. You know, I grew up obsessed with the Ninja Turtles, and I wanted to be April so bad. Like, I always loved the idea of being like reporter on the streets. So I think, yeah, that's me. I'm on the streets. I'm introducing myself. I'm Becca, and I do things, and sometimes those things are good, and sometimes they're loud, like right now. Actually, most of the time they're loud because I'm just always loud. But also it's loud outside, and I just drank 2 beers, and I haven't drank like all quarantine. So you're going to get things from me. I don't know what they're going to be.
And Becca is also she's a hilarious comedian, just like Cedric is. And
Yeah, I do that.
The thing I love about Becca's her comedy is very like it's very from the heart, and I love that about her. So
thank you.
Cedric, I love Cedric because he's like fucking intense when he does comedy. He's just like I love that.
It's true.
No.
Yeah,
You haven't really seen intensity until you see Cedric perform his bit, his Alanis Morissette bit.
Yes, so good.
You know what? I don't do things halfway, me and Dave. I never do. So, you know, I go full bore.
I watched a show at what's the Bar Fluxus, where like really nobody was doing well. And he went up there and performed his Alanis Morissette bit, and it went great with this uptight crowd. So they were really
they had all of them had sticks up their asses.
They usually do. Yeah, it's a bar
it was crazy
in the north, or was it the financial district area? Yeah. So it's notorious for that. All right, so let's kind of get to it in our first topic here. Coming right up. Let me get my proper background for everything. Bam. What's new with everybody? What's new? Anything new with you? We'll start with you, Becca. Anything new with you?
Oh,
Last couple weeks.
I just found out I've been looking for a new place to live because I don't get along with my roommate. And I just found out today that I got a new room, so that's very exciting.
Ooh, what town? What town?
Well, I'm SF still. I'm in San Francisco still. So I've been in Nob Hill, but I'm going to be in Pack Heights now.
Ew.
So, yeah, I know.
Oh, well.
But I still walk everywhere because I don't have a car. So there's a limit to my bougie. What else is new with me? I've been going to a lot of protests. I mean, I've been to protests before, so I guess it's not that new, but that's what I've been doing.
And you're not a police officer, right? You're not.
I'm not a police officer. I don't think that they have a bulletproof vest that would fit me.
They just have to strap two. They just have to strap 2 of them together. That's all.
Yeah, exactly.
They have to have 2.
I would need like 4 of them. I would need 1 for each boob, if we're being honest.
Also, Becca, your butt is going to be so cute because it's so hilly.
Okay, you know what?
With the walking?
Yes.
Oh my
Okay. So
God.
I'm so glad that you said that because I forgot something else that's new with me is in this time of quarantine with all my free time, I've taught myself how to twerk because I do in fact have a very big butt. And it felt like a waste. And so I did teach myself how to twerk. And I have also noticed that my butt has gotten bigger since I lived in uphill because I walk uphill every day. And I don't know why that's relevant except you asked me what's new.
Completely
And
relevant.
You know what?
So, and
Anyone that learns how to
don't
twerk
go
is doing Lord's
flatland.
work.
Don't
So
go
I'm cool.
I'm yelling. I'm yelling on
Flatland
this
will
patio.
fuck
I'm
you
so
up,
sorry.
man. Yeah.
But also, okay, one more thing. This is the last thing that's new for me, and then I'll stop talking for right now. But one more thing that's new is that I had this random guy on Instagram who kept reaching out to me because he wanted to quote unquote get to know me. And he finally commented, he was like, I'll send you money. Like what I just want to talk to you. And so I was like, if you send money to a bail fund, then I'll talk to you. And he sent fucking $100 to the People's Breakfast Oakland.
Look at
Just
that.
to talk to me. And
He really wants to fucking talk to you.
Be on the lookout for Becca's
Like, he's
OnlyFans
committed.
coming up.
Wow.
Yeah. So I think that might be my new thing. If people donate to protesters' bail funds, I'll send them a picture of my butt or something.
There you go. Supporting the cause right there. That is
Yeah.
great.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Oh my
Whatever
God,
you
do
gotta
like
do.
an OnlyFans page. You can do it like an OnlyFans
For
page.
those who don't know what an OnlyFans is, and that's pretty much my parents, because I know Deneen always knows what that shit's all about. It's sort of the how shall we say, it's a private one-on-one service that primarily is used by everything from adult entertainers to models and everything, and to sort of give fans the illusion of one-on-one contact with said male or female entertainer. So it's I mean, you can use your imagination. The look on my mom's face is just really priceless.
I don't have one. I've been asked to start one multiple times, but I do not have one.
I know
I
comedians.
don't do well with one.
Yeah,
Dave,
there are
do you
comedians.
have one? Dave, you don't have one?
I don't need to, no, but I mean, there are comedians that do comedy that are also like adult entertainers and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
They have an OnlyFans and they do quite well. So I'm just saying, there is money in it. So
No,
Yeah.
no, you get paid. You can get paid doing
you
it.
can get
for
paid.
real.
You can really
Yeah.
do that. So.
You can make a lot of money actually doing it.
So what's new with you there, Cedric?
Man, like I said, just getting married soon in October.
Holy shit! Whoa!
So
that's right.
yeah, so that is that's stressful because I don't know that if this shit's gonna happen. So that's stressful. But other
I
than
actually
that,
love your girl, by the way.
thank you. She
Amazing.
loves everybody in here that she knows. And it's she loves you too. Yeah, but everything's going good. We're going good. Everything's cool. We try to take drives out to the coast every now and again so we don't lose our freaking minds in the house. But everything's cool. We've been trying to just stay low. I've been trying not to low impact as much as possible because there's a lot of crazy mofos out here right now. So that's basically me.
You're living in Palo Alto, correct?
Yeah.
Still, okay. Yeah. So it's one of the towns that I've sort of been wondering, like how all of the last 2 weeks has affected.
Yeah, have there been protests and stuff, or
they just started in Redwood City, I think, and
They had a big march in Palo Alto.
They did.
are
Okay.
you carrying a smoothie or? I'm sorry, that's rude. That's rude.
It was really weird. It was kind of cool because me and my mom were driving on El Camino, and they were all walking on El Camino towards Stanford, and it was nothing but white people in that sea of people, and I just thought it was fantastic. I thought it was great.
Yeah.
And like for the first time, black people were looking at white people march for us. That was pretty cool. That was pretty cool.
Well, it's our problem, not your guys's. It's your.
You know what?
It's
That
not
is kind of true.
our problem. Your result. That's the problem. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, we're the
Yeah.
fuck. It's
I
not
agree
you.
with that.
So,
I'm not sure I agree with that, but still, it's just confusing.
it's your result.
I don't.
We're the fuck ups.
I agree with your
intention.
intention. I think you're intending well. That's all.
Okay, well, actually, I have thoughts and feelings, so it's not
I
my
know.
intention. I'm not wrong. It's just my opinion.
We've done the show. We've done the show for a while. I am very well aware. So my next question here, if I find the proper background. All right. So now, are you a POS if you use the quarantine as an excuse not to protest? And I didn't want to get an actual piece of shit for the background. So when you look up POS, actually it's point of sale that comes up. So I just found the background that just did the best POS software just to make it all, family show that we're running here. But
super lazy.
But not lazy. I looked hard for everything. I mean, from the background. So, but my point being, one of the things that I noticed when we started off this quarantine, that's my parents right there. I got him. When we started off this quarantine, everybody that was scared shitless about the coronavirus would constantly post on social media, if you're going outside, if you're out doing whatever, you're a piece of shit, all right? And then I noticed as soon as this, once things were starting to like pick up with the protests and all that kind of stuff, those same people will be like, if you're not out there in the streets and if you're being quiet right now, you're a piece of shit. So I'm kind of like trying to figure out where the piece of shit meter is right now, like how much of a piece of shit I am based on just really how much I live in Newark, and I've got three of my closest friends in recovery are black dudes, and I don't really, I mean, it's kind of been awkward because I texted my friend Akil today and I said, hey, how's it going? And I said I just wanted to let you know, I'm asking because, I know that what's going on and whatever, and I feel kind of like maybe it reminds me of you ever been in a relationship and it's starting to like, if something goes up and then you start asking somebody like, how you doing? Way too much, and it starts getting really annoying, and then they know that like, they're kind of trying to oversell it, or they're, and so that's why I'm just saying it's making it awkward because I don't know how much to talk about it. So I guess, yeah. So answer my question. We'll start with you there, Cedric. If you're scared of the coronavirus, too scared to go protest the police, how much of a piece of are you a piece of shit or not?
I don't think you're a piece of shit at all. I think you need to show. I think protesting in your own way is great. I don't think people should feel like, oh, I'm marching because I need to. Like, if I have gout and I want to march, I can't fucking march because I have gout. I mean, I shouldn't feel guilty about having gout. So I really don't. I think the motherfuckers that call you a piece of shit, they're really the ones that are piece of shits that really want to go out, but they're too scared to go out themselves. So fuck them. That's how I feel.
Thank you, Cedric. That was a wonderful answer. And then coming from somebody who is out there who could judge all of us for being at home. What are your thoughts, Becca?
I don't think shame has a place in this. I think shame is part of the reason that we have a problem to begin with.
Right.
It's not a useful feeling. It doesn't do anything for anybody. And I think when people focus on that, like if someone's saying like you're a piece of shit because you're not doing this one performative action, that's often a misdirection of something that they're feeling for themselves.
Guilt. It's
more
guilt.
often than not. Yeah. And I think most of the people who are, deeply involved or who, have really strong, like most of the people that I've been protesting with or influencers, black influencers I've been following have continued to say like, do what's in your lane, like do what you can do. And protesting isn't for everybody,
No.
Not everybody is built for protest. I think the important thing is to look for what you can do. And focus on that. If you're stewing in your guilt, or if you're letting someone else create a pot of guilt for you to stew in, that's still useless. That doesn't help anybody. So I think the most important thing to focus on is finding your lane and what works for you. And coronavirus is still, there's still a threat. And like the protest I went to today, everyone had masks on. I went to the Mission protest on Wednesday, everyone had masks on. People are and social distancing. The protest today spanned really far because there were a lot of people, but also people were giving each other space, which I think is important as well. So I think more than anything, find what works for you and take care of yourself too. Like I haven't protested every day. I like it's, for me, being out there feels powerful and important. And so I go because I know that as a white ally, I have a responsibility and I can do that. But I also understand that not everybody can do that. And so it's donate money, send letters. I have an email template to send to the Louisville government for Breonna Taylor because we still have not seen justice for her. If anyone needs it, please reach out to me. Find what works for you. Do that.
Hell
I
yeah.
agree.
I'm now highly pro mask now that I got a mask for my favorite band. This is Melvin's mask. The mask my parents sent me is pretty cool too. But so now I look for any opportunity to use my mask. So it's it still looks kind of stupid, but it's the Melvins, and that's best band on the planet, just hands down. So,
Dude, Becca for Congresswoman, man. Come on, Becca.
very true.
Let's
You
do
can
this.
start an
Let's do
OnlyFans for
this.
your campaign. But
That's how I'll fund
Just
it.
do this. Let's get you elected. Oh my God, Cedric, what are you wearing?
oh, it's a
This is
joke.
my mask.
Okay.
That is amazing
That is
and
amazing.
terrifying. But at least you're smiling.
It
When I-
terrifies me too. I'm always smiling anyway.
Oh my
Look.
God. So when I walk this is totally off script, but when I walk the dog, like, I'm like smiling at everybody and no one fucking knows. Cause I got my,
Yeah.
I'm like, why aren't they smiling back? And then it's stupid. Okay.
Here's my part that I did, and that's what I said. I sent my friend Akil a text. I said, "How are you doing? Haven't seen you in a while, and all these protests are making me feel guilty. I haven't been nice enough to you, and it's making it awkward." And he said, "Damn, Dave, that warms my heart. Trying to do this Zoom shit here for Area. That's a meeting for our recovery." And he goes, "I've been chilling around the house. Dad is having surgery right now. I'm okay overall." So, did my part. All right. So,
Wow, Dave, really?
yeah. Hey, you got to check in on your friends.
All you did was have him assuage your guilt. That's all that was.
I have no guilt. That's my point. I'm like, I really don't have guilt, but I'm like, because I'm in the in between on the color spectrum. But I'm going to up next. Here we have a part of the show that was dates back to like some of our early podcast episodes when we would talk about only where we would let women on the show only speak with no interruption from any men.
He would let us.
It was called that's right. I allowed it.
So much for letting us.
It was called Let a Bitch Breathe. Okay, so we adapted that today without really even thinking about it, and I'm like, holy shit, this kind of gives me chills. And the segment that we are adapting it to today is called Let an African American Breathe. And I was like, oh, fuck.
On the show, that's
not a joke, not even trying to make it a joke. And I think this, so my background here kind of points to this. So I wanted to give an opportunity to Cedric.
Oh, I got to change the jail background. Hold on.
Yeah, don't be in jail while I'm talking about Black Lives
That's
Matter.
inappropriate. Change that.
So I wanted to give an opportunity to Cedric to just kind of vent on
Probably not
anything
appropriate. That's what I have.
anything that it's been going, because I know we've been friends now for like I don't know how many years now.
Couple 3 years
Maybe longer than that.
maybe.
Oh my God, like 2 years.
No, it's more like 4.
It's like 4. I
yeah.
started 5. Yeah, it's about since I've known him. Since I've been doing comedy, I've been friends with Dave.
No, I've been friends with you too. Just do your thing. Do your thing. He's
Yeah,
like,
so just give me the opportunity to just talk about any of the whatever's been going on as far as all of this stuff with
what you
you.
got? Bring it.
So I had an encounter yesterday that I actually was quite annoyed about. I do have gout, and I use a cane sometimes, and I was at Trader Joe's, And I was with my mother, and this older white woman saw me. She kept seeing me around, like, I would say 4 or 5 times during the store. We leave, we get out. She's in the same, she's like in the same aisle as us for checkout. We get out. She pulls my mom aside and starts talking to my mom. Now, I know this lady isn't talking to me because of my appearance, and she can tell I didn't really want to be bothered by anybody. And she probably figured, well, if I talk to the black woman, then I won't be offending the black man. And that's how I felt. And my mom was like, well, she wanted to let you know that you needed to have better posture on your cane. And I was like, that's all she wanted to fucking tell me? She could have told me anything else. She could have said that. I would have been offended. I thought she was trying to say some like, oh, I know your son is going through a hard time being a black man. I thought she was going to say some shit like that. But it was to critique me about the way I use my cane, which I think is incredibly asinine. But that is my opinion. Also, too, I made a joke. I'm glad we're talking about this, Shaq and Dan. I made a fucking joke. Last year, exactly around this time, I was in LA and I saw a coyote. Saw this coyote, and I was like, I wasn't scared of the coyote, but I'm black. I don't run towards things that might kill me. That's why we run away from the police. That's what I said in a joke on my page, and a black girl told me, this isn't funny. I told her, look harder. Luckily, I had a black man laugh at it, and she didn't say shit she didn't say shit at all. She left. I haven't heard from her ever since. And my point is this. Everybody, fucking take a chill pill for a second and just relax. Do things you need to do to promote us and to promote us as people, but don't go so fucking overboard where you alienate yourself and you look like a complete asswipe. It is ridiculous. Me as a black man, I'm looking at some of these people and I'm like, y'all need to fucking relax. Like, you people need to relax, and you need us to be pissed off. Like, I'm mad. Like, don't look at me stupid and say, okay, well, this guy, he doesn't have a right to be. I have a right to be pissed off, and you have a right to be okay with me being pissed off. And I'm really happy that other people are aware and loving and trying to find love and understanding. That's beautiful. But don't try to get on a soapbox and try to reprimand me because you're uncomfortable with you. And I think that's the problem with us, is that we're so uncomfortable with each other. We have to get better understanding. And so that's my soapbox.
Hell yeah. Give a round of applause there for Cedric.
Yeah.
Also,
Thank you. Voice of reason. Yes.
I would also like to say that if you've ever had Cedric hug you, he is the best hugger ever.
Yeah, Cedric's one of the sweetest people on the planet.
Oh,
and what
God.
You just
And
described
he's
something.
a hugger, and he's the best.
You
but
just
that has
described.
nothing to do with what you just said. But
You just described exactly something that I wanted to lead into, and that is what it's called. Nina G shared this great article. It's called performative allyship. That's what it's referred to. Where basically, here's like a quote from it. Performative allyship, on the other hand, is when someone from that same non-marginalized group professes support and solidarity with the marginalized group in a way that either isn't helpful or that actively harms that group. Performative allyship usually involves the word ally receiving some kind of reward on social media. It's that virtual pat on the back for being a good person or on the right side. And once she posted that, I posted a comment that said, "Great job, Nina," with people applauding her. So that was kind of, sarcasm. And so this is a segment that I refer to as Karen splaining. Which is sort of just the kind of the response of what I would just say, the level of, kind of, I guess, discussing, I guess, ignorance and the various forms of it. I would find that. What are your thoughts? I don't know. Where the hell did my co-host go? There she is. I didn't recognize her without a background over there. Being somebody who I imagine probably gets dinged for what are your thoughts, Eerie, on Karen's splaining?
On Karen's plane. Well, I will tell you that I have a mom that doesn't get it, so I get this. My mom doesn't understand, and she's one of those people that like lashes back with like the wrong answer all the time, like the all lives matter and all that bullshit. And it is infuriating. I don't know what Karen-splaining is because I am not a Karen, but maybe I am. I don't know.
We've heard them. We've all heard them.
We've all heard them. And like I said, my mom might be one, actually. She has a hard time not understanding that the whole thing is like, all lives matter. Awesome. Go start that movement. That's not this movement, bitch. Like, you don't understand that those aren't the same thing. You know what I mean? She's one of those people, and like, she's like, white privilege. I'm like, really? You've been a pretty white woman your whole fucking life. I have seen you drink, get in your car, no registration, get pulled over, and not even gotten a fucking ticket, bitch.
That's not even a dream for me.
Oh my God. It's ridiculous. You know what I mean? And I'm like, seriously? You don't know what white privilege is? Bitch, come on. We are the epitome of white privilege. All right?
Just to say, wouldn't the ultimate white privilege be being unaware of the privilege itself? That's kind of
incredible. She is an amazing person. I don't want you to get me wrong, but she keeps posting shit that I don't understand, and this is the thing that is making me fucking crazy. Has anyone unfriended their mom yet? I might have to unfriend my mom.
I have unfriended my stepdad before, I think once. But that was, I don't know if it was unfriended.
Making me fucking crazy.
I had to scold him. That's what I did.
For the first time I actually said something on her post. I was so mad I almost cracked the fucking phone while I was texting. I was so fucking mad. I finally said something, and she has not. Something about there's no such thing as white privilege, and that's why I'm kind of going on this rant, because this really happened, and she has not said anything about it because she's like that. And anyways, Becca, how about you?
Clarification really quick. When we say the term Karen-splaining, are we talking about Karens like just taking over the platform and trying to change the message?
I just did that.
See the image?
I'm sorry.
You got that image? You can see her.
I'm sorry. I may have just done that. I'm just frustrated.
No. It's okay. I just wanted to get clear on what I was speaking to.
Just thoughts on it, really.
Just thoughts on it. Well, one thing that I do think that has been kind of insidious at all of the protests I've been to is I've noticed a lot of white people like either trying to take over chants or like speak. Like the protest I was just at in North Beach, they opened up the like megaphone for people to like share stories and experiences, and there were so many white people that were like, I'm a white person, and like the intention obviously was well thought, I guess, but it was like, if of all the platforms, like we need to sit this one out, support in other ways, but like don't take over so that like people of color don't have a voice, because that's kind of the problem, isn't it? And I think that especially in like the progressive movement and with like a lot of like progressive white people and liberal white people, they get so like worked up about things, but a lot of that is their own guilt, and then they end up subduing or speaking over Black people and people of color which is just as problematic as saying if you're saying all lives matter, that's obviously a problem because you're not understanding the movement. But if you're amongst a group of protesters saying Black lives matter, but then you're not letting like Black voices be heard, that's just as big of a problem. And so I think that there's a lot to be learned for white people, especially white allies, by just shutting the fuck up. Like, what I have to say is not always important. In fact, often
rarely
it's not.
important. It's rarely
Yeah.
important. You know what I mean? Like, oh
Yeah.
my God, all this privilege, but we love you. Like, that's so fucking stupid. You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
sorry.
And anytime you have to start a sentence by saying, like, I'm a white person, but just don't start that sentence.
Don't.
If you feel like you have to quantify it or qualify it, then let someone else speak. Yeah.
Just stop.
Yeah.
I love watching white guilt at work. This is great.
Me too. It's just,
shut up.
You guys are working double time for me right now. I love it.
Oh, no, do you know what it's like to be irritated with people that look like you? What the fuck is that? Like,
yeah.
I'm just like, you just
I know how it is.
Like, it's terrible.
That's the hard part. That's the hard part is you know, if my friend Akil decides to bail on me, I'm not allowed to be mad. No, fuck that. I can still get mad at him. Sorry about that. I was just bitter about something.
No, it's fine.
Our next segment, again, bringing it back full circle to the origin of that segment. This one is called "Let a Bitch Breathe," and we're back to our original one. And so what? Where the fuck is that fucking background here? Oh, I think I used this one. This is one of my favorite backgrounds here. Come on, lady. Where are you? I got her here. Where is the?
I kind of feel like Becca and I have already vented a bunch.
Yeah, you did, but I mean,
I have more to say.
She does.
No, me too.
How about I put it in terms of the current, because the origin of all this stuff. This is about more than the what started it. You got the George Floyd death, police brutality, and whatnot. And one of the things that I mean, you two both being women. How this movement in some way impacts you as women, I guess. What are your thoughts on that?
What impacts us as women? This has nothing to do with us. We have our own thing. We have our own problems. That's not our problem. We have our own problems. Being a woman is something totally different. It's a totally separate thing. These are separate things, but they are both things we need to address. Becca, I'm sorry, did I offend you?
No, that's okay. Yes and no. In the sense that one thing also that I think needs to be brought up, and I think the chants that are happening at protests, if you've seen videos, like one of them is say his name, George Floyd, and it's been only recently that people have started doing say her name, Breonna Taylor, because there's been no justice for her. If you don't know who Breonna Taylor is, she was a 26-year-old EMT. She was an essential worker. She had won awards for her job. She was shot in her apartment 8 times by the Louisville police, who, one, had the wrong apartment, first of all, and two, the person that they were after was already in custody when it happened. And no action has been taken by the Louisville government against these officers. And I'm really worried about her story being lost, because the people who receive the least amount of resources from the government are Black women. It's statistics in every avenue of everything. Women of color suffer the most. For every white man's dollar, women of color make 50 cents. To that, white women make 70 cents. So there's a lot of work to be done. And even though as women in general, we have our own issues and there's different platforms for that, and these protests are not that, I think just as much we also need to make sure as women that we are taking care of Black women and women of color, and that we're putting them forward. I have privilege as a white person, and I need to be using that for the right things. And maybe that is white guilt, but if I'm gonna have white guilt, I should be using them for the right things. And another thing too, that I did want to touch on really quick, since we're doing Let a Bitch Breathe, and I think this is related, is I've had a lot of conversations in general, but even recently, like on my way to a protest last week, I was the only girl, and I was talking to male friends about the concept of, like, because they kept saying that, like, when women experience things like, I've been sexually assaulted, I've been in an abusive relationship, I've had my consent violated more times than I can honestly count, and anytime I speak to that, I've had multiple male friends tell me, but that's like only 20% of the men doing that. It's like, it's, you know, hashtag not all men, you know, like not every guy's doing that, it's just a small amount. And I've noticed that it isn't until, like, I am reliving traumas and opening old wounds and telling them, like, this is what's happened to me, these are all of the negative interactions that I've had, like, this is my trauma. People don't believe your trauma until they see you experience trauma. And I think we're seeing that a lot with the Black Lives Matter movement. Like, it's gotten huge recently because there's too much trauma in our faces to ignore. And so a lot of times people don't mobilize until it's like, you know, I don't know. And then it's in their face and like, oh, well, I guess I have to believe it now. And I think that can kind of be fixed by listening. I don't know. And like what I was talking about before is sometimes, like, recognizing, like, when it's not your place to speak and when you actually need to hear what's being said. Because you know, and like, my experiences are still minimal. I've never been arrested, and I obviously am still alive. And so before we kill more people unnecessarily, or more women have to experience violence, Black women can't go to the doctor and be believed. Like, there's just so many issues here. And so in this segment of Let a Bitch Breathe, I want to say, also listen to a bitch.
Thank you.
And believe her.
Right on. Thank you very much. That's exactly.
Henry for Congress.
See, you see why I had this segment, Eerie? All right.
Listen to a bit. I like
See
it.
why I had it.
Here.
No,
Goddamn, I knew there was a point here somewhere to be made. And,
my problem is not this segment. My problem is always the next segment. Would you?
yes, my favorite part, mansplaining. All right, so this is
I
the
don't
mansplaining segment here. All right,
follow it up with
this is where we get to.
mansplaining.
Yeah. Okay. So, what I wanted to point to was one of the things that I'm glad. Thank you, Becca, for what you said, because one of the videos I saw that, I mean, because right now, it's almost like, you know, we've been normalized to seeing videos of assault on Black men, and then, but yeah, Breonna was kind of, you know, this thing didn't start up when George Floyd was on camera. The story was known about Breonna Taylor, and people are kind of like, oh yeah, remember that one? And now they're kind of finding. There was a video I saw of because now all of these things are being filmed at one of the protests, and they had officers that basically sexually, I guess it's assaulted. He was grabbing this one young Black woman's boobs, and then they
I saw that.
Yeah, so that was one of the videos that you saw. And because yeah, it's one of those things where I'm like, police are notorious. I remember one of the links that was shared was police in I don't know how many states can legally sexually assault you, or basically they can force themselves to have sex with you and basically say it's consent or something. I forget what it was. They can legally have sex with detainees. That's exactly, I think that's what it was I was reading. And there's states. They had the map of the states. And like any other person on the internet, I just saw the headline and the thumbnail, and I didn't bother to read the article. And now I'm an expert on it. But it was just one of the things that I was pointing out is just like the systemic kind of thing. There are things that are kind of, you know, it is more than just, I think a lot of these are the things that are brought to the forefront, but really what I'm grateful for everything that's going on is people are starting to look that police are kind of have to be held accountable for their behavior on the racial level, on gender levels, on just across the board. And you know, it's you know, it's just one of these things. I've been relating it to recovery in the sense that in recovery, what we do, we take an inventory, you know, when we try to list out, you know, kind of our problematic behavior that causes issues, and we ask, you know, our higher power to have our defects removed. What I'm witnessing within the world is kind of the world taking a world inventory, because it wasn't just America that's been protesting. It's all over the world. You know, these other countries seeing what's happening, and they're doing the same thing. That's pretty incredible. And this is like, this is shit that I'm like, you know, when I was 13 years old, I'm like, you know, looking around, I'm like, man, what the fuck is all these people's problems? I'm 43. It's taken 30 years to look at an entire generation that really, quite frankly, I think they were cooped up in their homes a long time, and then these things kind of just, oh yeah, by the way, fuck this shit.
Piss them off.
You know, yeah, it's like, you know, and
Dave, let's let Cedric. Also.
No, I'm not done here. I'm kidding.
And that's totally fine, Dan. Dan,
No.
I was listening.
Sorry.
Yeah, see, he was listening there, Eerie.
Sorry about that. I'm sorry.
My last point, though, is the fact that that the people that we're seeing, that, you know, from All Lives Matter, you got your white supremacists, you got whatever. I know a lot of people. I've grown up with a lot of people. I've known some racists who made me an exception and all that kind of shit. And one of the things that I related to is that the world also has people that that are holding on to old defective behavior. And that's kind of what we're experiencing, is we're seeing the world kind of like, this is the world wanting to see growth. We want to grow. It's a kind of a spiritual revolution. It's like, you know, we all have a conscience, and we're starting to see that conscience grow with one another of like, wait a minute, this is fucked up. And not only that, we're trying to like let the police know, like, hey, could you take care of us better? Because you're killing us, and you're hurting us, and I can't breathe. You know, these are the messages that of the movement that's going on. So, and that's just what I'm witnessing. So, what about you, Cedric?
One thing I want to say, Becca said something earlier about, you know, what can people do. The main thing you can do is, if you see something really, really fucked up, say something. Speak up. Don't just sit there and be like, oh, that black guy got accosted by the police. I'm just gonna watch, and not put your phone up, not try to say, hey, this isn't right. You know, that's where that's why we are where we are, because no one is speaking up. No one is making a big deal. And when you have billions of people in their houses watching someone get a knee on their neck, obviously people are going to be outraged and pissed off about that. And it's beautiful to watch people that I never thought would be mad be pissed. Like, I love that people are mad right now. Like, it's nothing wrong with being upset. It's wrong when you don't say shit about it. It's wrong when you don't give your opinion. It's wrong when you don't call out a person that's being racist but trying not to. You have to call people out, and you have to say what you believe, and you can't hold back. That's my problem. Is just don't hold back. That's what you do. So that's why I am with it.
I'm still listening.
Oh, thanks, Dave.
Council.
I'm Dove. I mean, the last thing I will say is I'm so happy that people are fighting for people who need to be fought for.
Yep.
And that's a beautiful thing.
All right, man. So that being said, we're down to our last. Before I forget, I just wanted to let you know, if you wish to donate to our comedians tonight, they may have the donations, made to charity or something, or if I don't know if they're working or not. But please, you may Venmo at Mean Dave, and I'll make sure the money gets to wherever they wish it to go. At Mean-Dave-225, or whatever Eerie's sign says that she put up earlier. Yeah, whatever. And that being said, our last segment here is, let's get this here. I love this background. This is probably my favorite background of it all. And where is my wonder? Oh, here we go. Boom. So are we for or against an asteroid hitting the planet, or a Yellowstone major earthquake, or apocalypse at this point? Do we think that it's, do you want to see everything go to shit?
I'm against it.
Because it is frustrating. Growth is not easy. So let's see. So let's ask Cedric. Are you for or against the end of the world?
I'm for it. I don't think it's happening. I think this is God's tricky way of saying, hey guys, I'm gonna get you to get along with each other by hook or by crook. And I think that's what this shit is. I think it's just like, hey, it's basically a timeout for the world. And they put us in curfew. That's fucked up. So I love it. I love seeing.
I think the curfew got lifted. I think
The curfew's lifted, but
lifted.
we were in curfew, so that's funny to me.
Hey, don't let that set in. The curfew is fine. We didn't have anywhere to go anyways.
No.
I would kind of don't want I think that the apocalypse needs to be us. I don't want the more bad things that happen around us is not going to help. We're trying to do like a human, there's COVID, you could die. And then also let's not be racist anymore. Yay. I think that it needs to be focused on humans right now and not, you know what I mean? Oh, look at Sean's baby, cute.
Yeah, that's why I love that he brought out his kid for the end of the world segment. That was
future. It's the future. It's the future. That's why people have kids, right? Who's got kids here? Everybody got kids?
My parents do. Yeah.
And Sean's got kids.
My parents do as well.
Yeah, well, not really. You're old enough to take care of yourself, so you're not really.
Still their kids. No, it doesn't negate their kids.
Everybody got kids? Randy, you have kids? Jason, do you have kids? No? Thank God, me neither. Luis, you got kids, man? Yeah, 0 kids? Fuck yeah. I mean, no offense to people that have kids. Denise, you got kids? No kids? Good for you. I mean, that's, you do you. I know Laura doesn't have kids.
We're not trying to shame anybody who has kids
Laura
either.
doesn't have kids.
So,
Melanie, you got kids? Yeah. Yes? No? Just hold up your hand. You're on mute. Becca, do you have any kids? 0 kids?
Yeah.
No kids. No kids. Kimberly? Mabel? Anybody?
All right, now that we got a head count, shit.
Hey, I'm just curious. No, because this is why my sister has kids, a newborn, 4 months old, and she's a little concerned about the fucking world right now. You know what I mean? And it's got to be weird when you have little kids like Sean, how you're all right, on the other side of this, is it going to be better, or on the other side of this, is this shit going to get worse? You know what I mean? It's got to be weird, right, Sean? Right? There you go. That's my.
I love the shrugged shoulder right there, because
that is working comedian, ladies and gentlemen.
In early childhood, parents tend to really, hate their lives. So that's just my experience from knowing friends who become parents. Not that they hate their lives, but it gets really trying. My buddy Dennis says some very interesting things about
my friend says some interesting things too.
Yeah, it's not easy.
It's treacherous. It's treacherous.
Yeah, makes me grateful.
It's just interesting to me that people. Anyways, it doesn't matter.
So, Becca, since you've been doing probably the most work on the ground and covering territory and walking around, do you think it's still worth it? Do you want the end of the world, or do you want your work to pay off?
Honestly, I go back and forth. There are definitely days where I'm you know what? Fuck it all. I hope that an asteroid comes out of nowhere and we just start over again. And then there's other days where I'm maybe there are some redeemable qualities to humanity. So I honestly, and I have nieces, and I feel really strongly about, being active and vocal in creating a different world for them to grow up in. I don't want them to experience the same trauma that I've had. And so, that's a positive for I make change. Yeah. But like I said, then there's also some days where I'm yeah, I don't care. I hope that Yellowstone erupts and wipes out everyone. So I don't know.
Has anybody been to Yellowstone? Because I've been there, and that place is incredible. Because you can feel how fragile this earth is all over that motherfucker.
Yes.
When I did not realize that's one giant super volcano until I saw and I'm looking, and there's a bunch of buffalo just chilling all over the fucking place. Yeah. And then we go to Old Faithful, and you see that shit shoot up. And I mean, it's just basically the earth kind of having an orgasm once every day. And it's so strange and just feeling holy shit, this place could just go blow sky high and we'll all be shithoused.
You have Mount Rainier too, which Mount Rainier would be a bad one too, because that's right on the fucking coast, and that shit's
Well, you know what? We live on the San Andreas and the Hayward Fault and all that
We're
shit.
fucked.
We're the dumbest of the dumb. Being out here. with
Not
the
to
highest
mention,
property
everybody's
values
gonna burn
on the
down
fault
anyway.
line.
Oh shit, you guys, my mom is calling right now.
Oh wow! Get ready for Karen explaining part 2, everybody. Let's get her on the line. No, I'm kidding.
Dude,
So,
no,
with
I
that
don't
being
think we
said,
should.
I think we
Well, I know
have.
she didn't tune in because she never does, and she always apologizes. But
I think we with that being said, we have reached the end of our show. So I want to give a round of applause to Cedric Drake and Becca Henry. This was not another terrible podcast by comics. This was possibly the most meaningful another terrible podcast by comics.
I completely agree.
Thank you,
That was
baby.
thank
Oh,
you,
so
you
much. Becca Henry, thank you.
Thank you guys.
Thank you guys.
Please check her out. She actually is not this serious on stage. She's super funny. Please check her out.
Wonderful. All of you guys.
Cedric Drake, who is awesome. Fucking dope. Cedric, thank you for your insightful knowledge and just being an amazing person. If you can get hugged by Cedric, I highly
Please
recommend
do.
it.
Yes.
Oh, it's an experience when you get hugged by me.
Even in
It's
Corona.
Oh my God,
Even in Corona,
it's so
height of
much
the Corona.
love in that hug.
Oh, I hugged my friend yesterday at Trader Joe's. I gave him a hug. People looked at us weird. Who the
Me,
fuck
Dave.
cares?
Okay, there
I'm
he-
here. I'm still
Thank
here.
you, Mean Dave. I'm Eerie Diamond. Thank you guys so much for tuning in, and we will be here next weekend at 6 o'clock.
6 o'clock.
And
Thank you
guys,
very
be
much,
safe out
everybody.
there.
Thank you
Safe
very
out
much for being
there.
part of this. Have a great
Guys.
week.
You guys, thank you.
Next week.
Thank you. Bye, everybody.
Bye, Sherry. Bye, Sherry. It's good to see you.
Hey guys, thank you guys so much for tuning in. Thanks, Don. Thanks, Dina. Kristen, thank you.